Okay, so I see Eden in family services after not seeing her for 3 weeks. We've had court, family services, the judge has ruled she cannot stay with Kelly. I'm under the impression she's not with Kelly. I go to family services, there's a restraining order. Kelly says I have showed up at the house. That's not true. There's been a hearing. I wasn't there. I wasn't invited. She says, I'm like, what is this? Eden's not even supposed to be at Kelly's house. I see Eden. Eden says, I've been with Kelly the entire time. I said, why didn't you call me? She said, I've been busy. I'm like, okay, so that's when I really started flipping out, okay? Is when I hadn't seen her for 3 weeks and I get the restraining order for something that I didn't do. I've never even been to Kelly's house, and my daughter is like, didn't tell me. And that's when I realized that it wasn't just Michael Feldman that was after me and like his political connections or his mafia connections or whatever it was. That's when I realized that it was the federal government, because the federal government runs the court system and the federal government runs family services. And I'm like, okay, well, there's only one person that's this powerful to defy a judge's court order and have my daughter stay somewhere where she's not supposed to be, and put in a restraining order when I never even knew about the hearing or the allegations. So I said, wow, it's the feds. And so Eden and I spoke, and I said, Eden, I said, I love you very, very, very much, and I really, 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 really want you to be careful. I'm like, I have to really sort out a lot of stuff. I'm like, this is really bad. And Eden didn't want to come with me again. You know what I mean? I said, I'm going to take you. And she started crying. And I was like, I didn't even know how. I had a nervous breakdown. My sisters told her so much terrible things about me, and colored my daughter's opinion. And who knows who the hell else has spoken to her in this time. And that's why she wasn't supposed to be there. So anyway, so I flipped and I left Ohio when I saw what the situation was, and I was going to have to go and do all this other stuff, and I wasn't getting a fair trial in Ohio. This was a hatchet job. It was done by the feds. So I went camping, and I went all up and down, and every place that I went, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, the cops pulled me over for nothing. Okay, I had this little Hyundai, blah, 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 and okay, so I got pulled over everywhere I went. Finally, in New Jersey, it was so obvious because 4 other people did what I did, and then they pulled me over. And I said, I know you know who I am. I'm like, and they gave me a ticket, and then I went to go pay it, or I called on the phone about it, and the ticket was not found in the court system. And I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm working at a strip club in Philadelphia, and what was it called? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Anyways, I can find out the name. I know in a second. Anyways, I'm in Philadelphia and I've been hired, okay? And then the next day, the owner doesn't know me from Adam. I get called into the back. He's like screaming and yelling, blah, 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 blah. And he fires me like instantaneously without a reason, okay? And I figure out it's because the cops have been to the strip club to keep me out of business, like to have me not be able to work. So I'm like comprehending all of this because I never knew that the government was like that, I know that don't piss them the fuck off because they'll make your life hell. So finally I crapped out in Rhode Island. And it was like a terrible experience. And I drove from Rhode Island to Florida, which is my hometown. And I moved in with a friend of mine. I started camping at first, okay? And in Florida, I was getting harassed too for like the first 2 weeks, all right? And I had some incidents with the police and everything else. And then Florida really laid off. It's my hometown. I'm from here, I started making a lot of noise. A lot of witnesses were left. Like I have roommates in Ohio that know things. I have all of family services in on it. They took my kid, and, my sister knows everything and was like in on it with the cops. And, so and then I drove everywhere. So I have all those strip club owners that know what's going on, and I have all those witnesses and, just in different locations, and then all the police work and all this stuff, and they just really had to come out. So then in Florida, couple weeks into it, they like really laid off and like got like a lot sneakier. And so now they're trying to get me with like, okay, so since I've been in Florida, there's been 4 wallets left full of money, because when I was camping and I couldn't get a job, I didn't have any money. There were 4 wallets left with money, just watch out for these tricks, in like places that I was eating. And I would never take them. And one of these girls like even like was like, "Oh, is that your wallet?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to take," I mean, really weird. And then I smoked pot, okay? And I had a license for it in Vegas and everything else, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I've done it. Okay, fine, whatever. So the past like 4 days, 4 people have asked me for like illicit drugs, and I don't do illicit drugs. Like, I've smoked some pot. I've been asked for Adderall like 3 times and cocaine once. And I'm like, I don't know where to get that. I don't know where to get that. And why are you asking me for that? And we're kind of strangers. And what the hell? You know what I mean? Because I'm working at another club down in West Palm. So now what they've done is they've just gotten a lot sneakier. And they're, you know, it's like, I think what they did when they couldn't get OJ in the trial was then they set him up with like, the government set him up in like that situation. And I think that they do that a lot. And this has been going on for 8 months, and because I pissed them off. And these are kind of the tactics that they use to control you and to put you away in whatever means that they can. Like, they couldn't get me, you know, on the mental ward, so then they wanted to get me, now they're going back to like jail cell. You know what I mean? And so now I'm really talking, because this is what they didn't want to happen. And now I'm really talking, and I'm spreading everything. And anytime I run into an issue, I am putting it on YouTube, and I'm keeping you guys updated on government corruption. This is Elizabeth Glazer. Thanks. Bye.